This beer is known locally as the beer of the gods. It is Theakston Old Peculier. The brewery is 200 years old in North Yorkshire, and Old Peculier is spelt slightly different to the way you would normally spell peculiar, because this is actually referring to a court jurisdiction in the area, I think, of Masham in North Yorkshire. So it has a very historic name, and the brewery is very historic in North Yorkshire. It's one of those breweries equivalent to your Timothy Taylors and your Samuel Smiths. Going back with a long history. It's a family-owned brewery, so the brewery was started by a Theakston, and it's still owned by the Theakston family. The style of beer is a English strong ale or an old ale. So it is that kind of old recipe, very, very traditional. I think their brewing setup in the brewery is also still very, very traditional North Yorkshire. I think I had a little look at their brewing website, a few photos of their brewing process, and some of their equipment looks very, very cool, very kind of old-fashioned, getting that old English brewery kind of vibe that you get from a bunch of breweries around England. And if it isn't broken, why fix it? If they're producing fantastic beer for 100, 200 years, they know what they're doing, and they'll keep doing it. So yeah, this is going to be my first time trying Old Peculier. First off the bat, I imagine it's going to be a dark ale. It's about 5.6%, so imagine it to be a little bit warming, but not too much. I presume it's going to be malt forward as a kind of strong ale, but let's see. Hoping that there's going to be some good English hop flavors in there. Interested to see if Theakston has a kind of unique yeast or anything like that. But yeah, it's highly regarded, I guess. I mean, if it's going to be called the beer of the gods, I mean, I guess the locals love it. Let's crack it open and see if it's any good. All right. That has poured a beautiful dark brown color. Nice kind of almost tan heads. I can smell it a little bit even far away from the nose. It's looking like a classic English beer. There's almost like a hint of kind of ruby red to it, actually. It's like dark brown and then held up to the light. It's kind of ruby red. Yeah, I mean, I love English kind of ale, so for me this is going to be a gulper. But yeah, on the nose, let's see. Immediately I'm getting those dark fruits, like I would say kind of like raisiny, bit of a plum there. Definitely some malt sweetness, not really getting much in terms of alcohol. Yeah, it smells like a very inviting beer, very English. Can't wait to give this a gulp. Let's see how it tastes. I've let it warm up, so I was keeping it in my food fridge, so it was at about 3 or 4 degrees centigrade. And English beers, they say drink warm. I mean, it's still fairly cold, but 12 to 14 degrees centigrade is a good kind of place to be drinking this kind of English ale. So I let it warm up for about 20 minutes on the table. So I'm hoping that that's enough for those flavors to be let out from the beer. If it's too cold, those malts don't shine as much as they should. But yeah, let's see. Okay, so immediately the mouthfeel is almost like it's come from the cask, actually. Not much carbonation there at all, so they've carbonated it enough for there to be head, but it's dissipated very quickly. So that's yeah, I quite like that actually. It kind of feels more like drinking it in the pub. So yeah, it is malty, malt forward, a little bit of sweet, but not as sweet as I would think it was from the look of it. But malt forward, almost like a little bit kind of molasses, caramel, and a slight amount of roast, but not anything close to like a porter or anything like that. Like it's just a kind of on the edge kind of roast. Um, yeah, that I'd say the roast is more chocolate actually. So it's kind of like a dark molasses kind of chocolate. It reminds me a little bit of like a Belgian quad in those kind of dark malt flavors. So nothing harsh or astringent, leaning towards sweetness but not too sweet. Um, I really quite like the malt on this beer, and then it's transferred from the aroma definitely onto the mouth is those kind of dark fruits. So yeah, it's like plum for sure, a bit of raisin, possibly a little bit of fig going on there, but nothing kind of too kind of strong or bright or how do I say it? It's not a fruit forward beer. It's a malt forward beer that is has a supporting act of those dark fruits. And I guess you know if you bite into a plum, it's not so much kind of you know it's not big on you as like say biting into a grapefruit or a strawberry or something. It is kind of more understated as a fruit, and that's what I would describe the fruitiness in this beer as being like. Um, Bitterness, it's present, but it's muted. I think that marries well in terms of the fact that this is quite a low carbonated beer, so you don't have those CO2 bubbles kind of you know popping in your mouth, adding to the kind of feeling of hop bitterness. So it is quite a smooth drinking pint, which is a little bit dangerous because it's 5.6, and I can imagine many a person sat in a pub drinking this on cask and sinking quite a few of these and not realizing that it's 5.6%, because to me this is drinking like almost like a dark mild in terms of easiness. Like it, you know, dark mild can come in at around 4% or whatever, and this is drinking similar to that. There's not much in terms of alcohol heat there. Mm. Yeah, it's just a really impressive English beer, and I think if you're going to drink beers like this, you're going to have to appreciate um, the history of it and see it within the context of English beers, and not within the context of you know all these crazy flavors that are going on today. A bit like how Germans appreciate their different lagers, even though that there's kind of crazy things going on with IPLs and cold IPAs and all that sort of stuff going on that kind of new beer drinkers are kind of wowed by. You know, if you're drinking like a Kolsch or whatever, that's my attempt to the way to say it. You want those kind of subtle flavors of subtle fruit and a little bit of maltiness and that kind of thing. And this is what similar to like English beers, but this is a champion in itself. I think this still stands up to modern day because it is just wonderfully balanced but malt forward. Um, it always sounds a bit silly when you say that, but you understand what I mean. It's a malt forward beer, but it's married together with the other elements of what you expect from a beer. So that kind of bitterness. It's got a decent body on it. It's not too kind of light or whatever. So it marries together well, and it's just almost like like a fireside beer. Like I would love to be sat in a North Yorkshire kind of village in the middle of the Dales. It's a bit kind of blustery outside, maybe a bit of rain, classic Yorkshire weather, and you're indoors in the warmth. There's a pub fire going on, you know, a bit of chat going on in the background. There's a bloke at the bar with a flat cap on and his walking stick, barber jacket, just the classic scene. And you're drinking one of these, and it's just perfect for that setting, and it's really enjoyable. And it's just getting better and better as it warms up. Yeah, I just love how they managed to achieve those kind of dark fruit flavors, but it's not on the sweet or sharp end of the fruit. It's perfectly enough of the fruit to go together with those kind of molasses and malt flavors that is like the dominant prominent part of this beer. So yeah, all around I'd give this probably 4.5. Just a high quality beer, very lovely for me. Definitely a kind of beer that I would drink again. So I mean, I need to get back to the UK and visit a bunch of pubs that have these kind of cask ales, because beers like this, you need to drink them on cask because that's the best form of it. And yeah, it's a bit like drinking Pilsner Urquell in Czechia, and they got the proper tap and they pour it perfectly, and you get just the best version. That's similar to English beers. You want them in the pub, hand pumped out of a cask. Absolutely beautiful. But yeah, they do them in a can. So if you see this in your supermarket or whatever, pick up an Old Peculier, because it's very much worth it, especially if you do love an English beer. But even if you don't, I think you can make an exception for this, because this is a very good beer, well worth the try. Cheers to North Yorkshire.